And welcome back with our picture of tomorrow's weather prospects nationwide. And for women folk, of course, that map's also a guide to what to wear tomorrow. As far as I can see, you don't need to get into those winter tweeds yet. But, of course, at the moment, it's not just the weather that determines what you wear. There's a much more pressing problem. Should it be mini, or does fashion dictate the midi? Or even less leg-revealing, the maxi? Now, this isn't by any means the exclusive concern of the girls. Midlands Today viewers already know, for instance, that there are many men who not only care, but are actually going into battle on the issue, aren't they, Tom?
Yes, Mike, they are. There's a real battle royal building up here in the Midlands. You see, the men of the Midlands like to see attractive girls and their legs showing in miniskirts, and I must say, who can blame them? So what has happened is an engineering company at Corby in Northamptonshire have launched a special campaign, and this is their slogan. There it is: save the miniskirt. Now, windscreen stickers have been issued to the firm's lorry drivers who will be carrying the message all over the country. They've already handed out 2,000 of the stickers to lorry drivers and motorists in various parts of Britain, and another 5,000 are on order. Well, so far, they've only had one refusal. Now, it's the idea of the firm's marketing director, but with me I have in the studio three of the employees of the company. They're Ian Metcalf, Dennis Pickering and Peter Walden, and these men are all behind the campaign, so for them it's out with the midi and the maxi and save the miniskirt.
Well, if the nationwide girls are anything to go by, I reckon those men there have a tough fight on their hands. Into battle now with Amanda Tennyson in Bristol and with Diane Harron in Belfast.
Well, I was a great advocate of the mini, Michael, when it first came in, but now the mini's definitely out. The midi has every advantage over it. For a start, it's more modest, and if that doesn't appeal to you, it's a lot more warmer. And this is from the girl's point of view, and after all, it's us who has to wear it. I don't know what Amanda thinks.
Amanda, what do you think?
A long list of very good reasons why you should wear the midi and why the mini is definitely out. 1, my mother can no longer look at me and say, "Aren't you rather too old for wearing such a short skirt, dear?" 2, it's very warm, like she says. You can stand at a bus stop without knowing that your thighs are going a very unattractive shade of blue, and who wants congealed thighs? 3, I can fulfill my fantasy of being a lady as I trip around with my very demure skirt on. 4, what was the 4th thing? I can wear laddered tights. Now, how about that for an economy? And 5, I can drive men mad with desire with a glimpse of my well-turned ankle. How about that?
Ah, well, let's put that last point there, rather, Amanda, to the men. Would you go crazy, you men in Birmingham, about the sight of a well-turned ankle?
Well, Amanda's already beginning to drive me wild with desire, and it would, I'm sure, being a very attractive lass, she would look a lot better if she was wearing a miniskirt. She looks very nice now, I must admit, but I think a miniskirt would be the answer for Amanda. And, well, you know, I wonder if we could persuade her to show us her legs.
I'm very proud of my legs, but they've gone into hibernation for the winter. I'm very sorry.
You did say in Birmingham that Amanda, dressed as she is sending you wild with desire. Do your colleagues agree with that?
Oh, definitely.
Well, I think you've lost the battle then already.
Oh, no, I don't think so. Because, after all, a girl's environment, I think, is to attract the men. And by showing her ankle, she's going back to the old ages. And I think that the only thing what the midi or the maxi does is to make them look drab.
Wouldn't it be much more exciting to be able to guess whether I've got good legs instead of staring at them all the way up?
Definitely not.
Really?
Definitely not.
Well, there's one more point for you particularly. It's bad enough having heavy lorries on the road as it is without you staring at my legs as you go by. Shouldn't you be looking at the road?
I look at the road, that's why I see the legs.
Perhaps I should just say something here. There's just been a report from Canada today saying that it's safer for girls in miniskirts because, especially at night, the lights shine on the stocking legs or the bare legs. Would you men agree with that?
Definitely.
Well, the lorry drivers are pretty professional men, and they're used to dealing with all sorts of situations on the road. And they're going to look at a girl whether they're wearing an army greatcoat or miniskirts, what have you.
Let's go back to Diane Harron in Belfast for a moment. Would you agree with Amanda, Diane, that you feel much more a lady, not necessarily a demure one, dressed like that?
Yes, I feel a lot more elegant wearing a midi skirt. And from a safety point of view, they're certainly no more dangerous than a mini. I mean, it's been said that maxis are dangerous, but the maxis aren't in again this year at all because they catch in elevator doors and things. I think the midi's very safe, very elegant. And another thing, I mean, Amanda and I are both in our sort of mid-20s. I think I'm not insulting Amanda.
Thank you very much, Dan. Thank you.
But there are a lot of women who aren't. And I think that one advantage of the midi is that practically any age group, from the teenager right through to the more mature woman, who's almost any size also, can wear the midi, where she couldn't really wear the mini. And she's now going to be able to get the really most fashionable clothes in the midi length, and she's going to look super.
Even from a male point of view, would any of you three in Birmingham agree that it's better to see a girl, and there are some girls around who have rather fat, ugly legs, clothed in a midi?
Well, you can't. There must be some exceptions to the rule, but as a general rule, I think the mini is a far more preferable garment for a woman. We prefer it, and I think there are there are at least 2,000 people already that are in agreement with us who have got the stickers in the car or lorry windows.
2,000 are maybe. Two of our nationwide girls are clearly not. I'm going to turn to a referee now, if I can. One of our most with-it designers, Lee Bender. Who wins this fight, this argument?
Well, I definitely agree with the two girls.
She's biased.
I'm not. I think midis can be equally sexy because if you wear them sort of with a long slit and tights to match the dress, I think they can look marvellous.
Could we see one of the girls you brought along with you? This is making, this girl here, and this picture here, making the point.
No, but she looks like something from a 1940s ballet with those sort of strap shoes and things. The skirt's smashing, but the shoes are terrible.
Lee?
Yes.
Oh, well, I disagree with that.
Can I ask you one more thing? You know, I like the midi very much, like I said, but would it be possible for somebody to make them in another colour, apart from purple and brown and aubergine and brown and black and purple?
Well, we make our midis in all colours, but this happens to be the new winter's colours.
It's terribly dull.
It isn't really, the question isn't what colour they are, it's that they are midis. And we've had a fantastic response. There are literally hundreds and hundreds and probably thousands of people now who are anxious to write into my company York for these stickers, and we were glad to supply them.
Well, Lee Bender, I've heard some of the fashion writers saying that although men may be disappointed by the skirts going down, they're going to be compensated by other things going down at the top. You know, there's going to be more to see and more cleavage. Is this going to happen?
Yes.
Well, would the men in Birmingham then, if it is, agree that that's a step in the right direction? There we are, look at that for you.
From both ends, in fact, yeah.
The more from both ends is better, in fact, but I think we'd be more prepared to accept them if they stayed as they were at the bottom.
I begin to feel you're all losing the battle, you know, you men.
I don't think so, because I think most of the women, well, especially around where we come from, are all in favour of the mini. And I think there's very few, there's just the odd one or two rebels that are wearing the maxi or the midi.
You wait, give them a year and they'll be back. They'll be wearing midis like everybody else. You won't be able to buy a mini very shortly.
I think Lee Bender could tell us that for sure, couldn't you? I mean, you're in the business. Can you say categorically that within, what, 6 months, everybody will be wearing the midi?
Well, for myself, I speak only for the younger generation. When I say the younger generation, I mean up to 30.
I'm afraid Miss Bender's probably got a vested interest, that's the trouble.
Well, have you a vested... I mean, this is the point here that, you know, there's more material involved, and that's good for business.
Oh, no, because it makes them more expensive. I mean, surely it's better to have them cheaper. After all, little shift dresses cost £3, and we sell more.
Though, isn't it?
No, we'd prefer to make them more cheaply, and
well,
then we
why,
sell
one
more,
final point, why should the hemline go down?
Because girls are bored. They're bored with wearing short dresses, and after all, fashion is a natural evolution, and we want new things. We don't want the same old boring things.
Well, we've heard that girls are bored. The men claim they're not. I half suspect, you men in Birmingham, that in 6 months or so you'll be converted anyway.
No, I think we're striking a blow for women's rights, actually. They've spent many, many years showing an ankle, then a knee. And,
we'll see how you get on, because we have to move on now to talk about, well, it's a rather different topic. It's nonetheless about birds, although they are birds of a rather different feather.
To be precise, this bird.